Okay, Minorcan Navy, we didn't have anybody up to do photography or any video on the last section pulled out. I was back in Georgia. Got to take care of a little business. I've been away from home for quite a while, but I'll be back in Baltimore. But these are the images we got from Unified Command, and I wanted to share these with you guys because they were pretty doggone good, showing the last section and the rigging. But another thing I really want to pay attention here is the roadbed debris that was still kind of hung up on this section. You know, the last couple sections that Don John worked on moving gave them a little bit of a fight. It was a struggle to get these last couple pieces up. They had to break it up by dropping a weight down on it. And on some of these images, you can really see and understand the holdup and how these pieces were being anchored. Look at the amount of rebar and roadbed material that was hung up here when this piece came up. You start to see that, you can really start to understand why this is not just throw a chain around it and yank it up with a big crane. Tremendous weight to start with just from the steel work, but when you start adding the weight from just tons and tons and tons of the construction material that built up or made up the roadbed. Keep in mind, this was 4 lanes of interstate road that was going across this bridge. And it's amazing to me that they're able to get this stuff up at all like they are. But yeah, the last piece up and then hauled away back over to Sparrow's Point. It'll continue to be processed over there. They still have material down in the water that's got to come up. But for the most part, the visible pieces of the span that collapsed into the river when the Dolly struck it have been removed. Pretty good photography by the folks over at Unified Command, and we thank them for sharing these with us. And there's the piece up and ready to be transported. Good stuff. Now, we're going to continue on with our field trip when we went up into the Baltimore Harbor. Now, I got some clarification on this because I was there, but this is the Rusty Sculper. And this is the view. Look at the view out of that restaurant. Tremendous. And now heading back out. And you guys remember when this incident first happened back in the end of March, there was some discussion about some Navy ships that were bottled up into the port of Baltimore. Well, we passed by those on our excursion here, and we've got them back there. And they are older ships, but they serve a very important role in the Navy, and they move a lot of their heavy equipment, heavy material. And I don't think they've been to sea for a while, but we did see some work going on these things. But this is the Gary I. Gordon and the Soderman. They're roll-on, roll-off ships and cargo ships and everything in between. And they're able to move a lot of equipment for the Navy when the call comes to do that. But we passed by those mighty ships, and they're huge, huge ships, especially built. They have cranes. Not only do they have the traditional roll-on, roll-off type ramp to access, get heavy equipment up into a ship or supplies, but they also have cranes that are on the ship to load and unload cargo. Pretty fascinating. I guess you might call it, this is kind of a crossover ship, and it serves a couple of different roles and is able to fulfill that. Now, what becomes of these ships now? Well, they can get in and out of the harbor. Do they stay here in Baltimore? I think they're pretty comfortable here, and should the call come, they're able to get out. They will do so. But they were there, invisible, and this is part of that. This is part of their fleet. There were two other ships that are on the other side we didn't get, but wanted to share those with you as we were kind of taking our ride back out of Baltimore's inner harbor and kind of coming down this part of Baltimore where the port begins to turn from more of a recreational area into Port Authority property where commercial shipping takes place. Mind you, the port is laid out with, there are several different areas around that port that are utilized by the Port Authority for loading and unloading not only roll-on, roll-off ships, but bulk cargo as well. And this just happened to be one of those spots. It's kind of a little bit of a blend going on there as you turn back into the port property. But after we get out around the little corner here, we're going to start to see some bulk carrier, and then we're going to see the Dolly. Of course, the Dolly and the Weeks 533 were there. The Resolve still working on the project there to get Dolly finished up, where she can find her way back to a repair facility, wherever that may be. I've heard they may take it somewhere for some temporary repairs, and then she will be sent on to another facility for more permanent type repairs. But here, some of the cranes that are visible from along the waterfront, utilized by the Port Authority, and there in the background you can see that bulk ship. Busy port of Baltimore. And we had a really neat day. And there you can start to see the Dolly. We're going to turn here and head back more in a southerly direction, and you can start to make out the colors of all those containers which are still aboard the Dolly. Not sure when or where those are going to come off. If they're going to come off there in Baltimore, or are they going to leave with the ship and go to another spot to be unloaded. Still waiting to find that out. But we'll be back in Baltimore. Plan on being back up next week. We'll get the drone back up to take a look and see just how far along Resolve has gotten in the process to have the Dolly moved out of the Port of Baltimore. What a great day that'll be. Well, I've got some other ideas here for some things that are going to happen after we finish up in Baltimore. I think you guys might like. I may do a little prelude video to that to kind of show you guys what that'll be like. We will try to get you guys some information. There's just some things I'm thinking around. I think that the channel may enjoy. But yeah, there you can see the Dolly, and then you can also see the Weeks 533 next to it. And that work continues. Now, who doesn't love a beautiful roll-on, roll-off ship? Here we can see coming up over towards the right is one of the Wallenus Wilhelmsen ships. You know, I've noticed they have recently, I say recently, past year or so, they've taken on a new look with kind of the aqua color up top and then like a blue-greenish color on the hull. Now these ships, it seems they used to be orange and white. But I would have to say, a much more aesthetically appealing color. But you can see that ship there alongside port, rolling on or rolling off some of those vehicles that make up the cargo of that ship. And then there in the right-hand side of the screen coming up are the first few spans of the Francis Scott Key Bridge coming back into the view. So you guys kind of know where we are. It's kind of where we started. And I want to thank you guys for joining us here again today. Ask if you haven't done it yet, you'll click on that subscribe link. Give us a thumbs up. Hey, send us some comments. As always, we want to say, hey, you guys stay safe out there.